Armed CTSFO officers and SAS operators have just raided multiple homes across the UK, including towns like Rochdale. And this isn't a training exercise, this is real. So why are Britain's elite special forces being deployed on home soil? This operation wasn't just high risk, it was high priority. Homes were hit in the dead of night, doors were taken off, suspects neutralised, and the people behind the trigger, not your average beat cops. These were CTSFOs, counter-terrorist specialist firearms officers, working side by side with SAS operators, the UK's most elite special forces unit. For those unfamiliar with these units, let me break it down. The CTSFO are the UK's most heavily armed police officers, trained for rapid response, hostage rescue, urban warfare, counter-terror operations. They represent the highest tier of British policing. Think of them as the last line of defence on UK streets. Then there's the SAS, Special Air Service, arguably the most elite special forces unit in the world. These operators are the ghost unit, silent, surgical, and often used in international operations too sensitive to ever reach the news. When the SAS show up in towns, it's not for optics, it's because something very real is at stake. And that brings us to the core question: why now? Why them, and why here in British neighbourhoods? This is closer to home than you think. What did they find behind these doors, and what does it mean for the safety of this country? Stay tuned to the end to find out. Elite special soldiers from Special Air Service are very likely to have joined counter-terror cops and MI5 in foiling a major terror attack, against Britain. Teams raided 2 suspected Iranian terror cells in a highly significant operation to tackle growing activity by a hostile state in the UK. Sources said the alleged plot to target a UK premises was a major attack that could have led to an imminent threat to life. So they've reacted very quickly to this, obviously with force as well. So more than likely, the SAS are working very closely with CTSFOs and the MI5 anyway. Nowadays, with a lot of sort of joint operations, sharing intelligence, having very similar kits, and the army's there for domestic and foreign. It's not likely that they've just brought the SAS in just for this op. It's very likely that they work very closely together anyway. Speculation mounted on Sunday evening, the suspected terror group was looking to hit a synagogue or another target linked to the Jewish community. So it's possibly the Iranians looking to attack the Jewish community. Obviously, with everything that's going on with Israel and Gaza, this is very, very... I don't know how true any of this is, though, because how are they getting this information? Because an operation like this would be top secret, classified, and nothing would be released. So how true this is, we don't know. But let's just go with what all the reports are saying, because I've read through quite a few of them and they're all saying very, very similar. It is believed members of the SAS Specialist Counter-Terror Team, dubbed the Special Projects Unit, may have supported armed officers in the raids. Never worked in the SAS, but been in the army. I never heard of anything like this, but you did hear of the SAS working very closely with the CTSFOs. More than likely, a couple of guys would be posted continuously with the CTSFOs so they could work together, one to learn each other's tactics, but also just to support each other in these type of raids. A former British spy master added that given the alleged threat posed by the radicals, who were reportedly hours away from staging a massacre, it was distinctly possible by the British military played a supporting role in the bust. Of course they did. They're wearing MTP, right? Look at this. You don't even have to look at them and go, oh, they've got this type of rifle, they've got this type of body. They're wearing MTP. They are wearing MTP. The only guys in the UK to wear MTP are the British military. It's not like in the US where the FBI, SWAT teams, etc. wear MTP. It's only the British military that wear MTP. These could be SAS, could be SPS. We don't know. Could be someone else. But in the UK, the police do not wear MTP unless they're trying to throw off and confuse people, but I can't see that happening. We know CTSFOs are always in their grey suits. The Ministry of Defence will never comment about Special Forces operations. That's why we don't fully know if this is exactly Iranian, where they were seconds or minutes or hours away from foiling a major terror attack. We don't know. We can only sort of assume and go off what people are saying. But more than likely, with the way these guys have raided, how they've reacted, the force that they've used, the threat was definitely high and it could have been imminent. There was definitely an imminent threat to life at some point for him to carry out these raids. However, one former SAS operator told Mail Online it was likely a squad from the fearsome Who Dares Wizard Regiment may have been involved in storming a property in Rochdale alongside counter-terror cops. Soldiers would likely to have been armed with explosives to blow open doors, with police supporting the operation, the expert said. Pictures from the scene show men wearing military helmets and body armour carrying what are believed to be suppressed C8 rifles, which are used by the SAS. Yes, we know that. As you can see here, looking at the images, they're definitely military guys, and then you can see the guys in grey there, and a nice set of like stonewashed jeans. They're your CTSFO guys, most probably. There you go in grey again, CTSFO, MTP. They're going to be your SF guys. Looking alley, all kitted out. If you're in the military, you're in the police, you're looking highly at these guys. These are the tip of the spear. These are the guys you want to be. See, other images show a number of officers wearing black and grey tactical kit. It's believed that these are highly trained CTSFOs. Okay, we know they are. Normally they have CTSFO on their body armour anyway. Locals reportedly heard a series of loud bangs and men shouting before suspects were led out the property by counter-terrorism. These guys would have stormed and raided that building quicker than you can imagine. Okay, I've played enemy for the SAS before. They have come in, raided 2 buildings, taken us all prisoner. Don't even think they need to be within minutes. They are quick. They do not mess about. As soon as that door goes, they're in. You have a weapon pointing in front of you. They are insanely quick. It's scary at how good they are at this because they practice. There was a massive explosion in flame. It was officers using explosives to blow open the door. Most probably slight exaggeration there. There wouldn't have been a massive flame because they want to stun them. They want to react quickly, but they don't want to cause any injury to any possible suspects that are in there or anyone that isn't a suspect. Images showing the aftermath. The security operation also revealed a ground floor window in the home was raided when smashed in. Yeah, standard entry. It's thought that this could have been done in order to allow officers to toss in explosive flashbang grenades before storming the alleged terror. Standard, you want to stun them, get in as quickly as possible, surprise and momentum. In a second dramatic raid, plainclothes officers were seen detaining a man in Swindon town centre. Swindon as well. The former SAS veteran said these were likely counter-terror cops and not members of the special forces. You never know. Guys in the SS, they're not always going to be an MTP. They are likely sometimes going to be plainclothes civilians. You don't know. You don't know they're there. So we can only assume that the guys in MTP were the military. I'm really 99.9% sure they are. The guys in grey are the CTSFOs, and if they're in just plain clothes, more than likely it's going to be police. But there's always a chance that the SAS could be cutting around in just civilian clothing. But more than likely, if they're going to adopt body armour, helmet, weapon, most probably MTP. They used to wear the black kit. They may still have that as well. So you just can't 100% assume. Colonel Philip Ingram, who served in the British military intelligence, said troopers from the SAS and its sister unit, the SRR, may have been used in a strike operation with locations. More than likely, yep, the SRR would have been involved in this, but they would have done all the reconnaissance, the surveillance, they would have gathered all the intelligence, built up a massive picture, got all the details that you would have needed to be in, what the building looks like, what it looks like inside, exactly what door you've got to go to, how many windows are on the outside. They would have gathered all that intelligence. They would have shown that to the SAS. These are the possible threats, the suspects we have in here. The SAS then most probably would have done their own sort of reconnaissance on it. How are we going to carry out this mission? So the SRR gather intelligence, sort of the boring stuff, but the vital stuff. SAS, door kicking, raids, capturing the actual targets. So it would have definitely been a joint operation because they would have needed this intelligence alongside most probably the MI5 as well. So that's it there. They've attacked multiple buildings and towns across the UK. Absolutely insane. But what people have got to realise that there is constant threats going on around the UK. You've got to be extremely careful. And this is why people say we don't need a military, or people are too heavy-handed. The police, we don't need the police. Yes, you do, for its incidents like this. Okay, when SAS operators, right, they're normally reserved for international warfare, but they do have guys on sort of UK CT that are working in the UK at all times. And when they're working alongside the UK CTSFO officers, okay, it means, there's a massive national security threat. It's real, okay? The possibility of an attack happening in the UK again very, very soon is very, very likely. These guys were possibly some Iranian terror cell, and these CTSFOs, the SAS, SRR, SBS, the police are constantly active, okay, and they're foiling attacks that we just don't know about. They just don't always get released in the news. The only reason this was released in the news, people filmed it and it ended up on the internet, so they had to talk about it. But the question is, how long has these threats been active? How many others are under surveillance right now? And what happens if one of them has slipped through the cracks? Then there's a possible that a major terror attack may happen. They may postpone it. They may delay it. But these threats are real, okay? There's these guys that are ready to do bad things to bad people. And you've got to be aware of that. You really do need to be aware that, yes, it feels nice and safe at home. It feels all comfortable, but there is real threats going on. There is people out there that want to hurt us. So please do remember that. And it's the police, it's the military, it's the SF guys, the CTSFOs and your standard coppers, your standard squaddies that are foiling these attacks, are protecting us. But let's have a look, though, at possible full realities behind the operation, okay? Intelligence-led and time-sensitive. These were not speculative raids. The UK's intelligence agencies, particularly MI5 and the Counter-Terrorism Command, don't authorise elite operators unless they are actionable. Okay, urgent intelligence. This means surveillance data, intercepted communications, possibly even foreign intelligence, flagged suspects or locations. These weren't just dangerous individuals. They were potentially moments away from acting, and that's what it sounds like. Okay. Joint operations are always happening as well, and they're becoming more and more popular. Police and military are blending their capabilities, sharing tactics, and just supporting each other because of the amount of threats that they are out there. Also, just the SAS, with the experience they bring from years and years of training and operations overseas and the UK, can teach the CTSFO a lot, and the CTSFOs can also teach the SAS a lot. But the SAS, they've got the kit, they've got the equipment, they've got the tactical knowledge, but the CTSFOs bring the jurisdiction, okay, the local knowledge and the law. So that's why you need them alongside the SAS. What people need to understand, there is the domestic threat is just as real as the foreign one. No longer are we just looking outside. We've got radicalisation. It's happening all the time. It's not just a foreign epidemic, it's a domestic epidemic. You've got encrypted messaging apps that make it easier for people to talk and radicalise people, online forums, foreign influence campaigns, propaganda to help radicalise people within the UK. That's British citizens and obviously foreign nationals living in the UK. But what you've got to understand, a bit of public reassurance that the police and the SAS are there. They are willing to do those bad things to help you. They're willing to put their lives on the line to help reassure the public that they can live safely. Yes, the threats are out there, but they are willing to turn up, show up, do the job, and stop these guys from carrying out any sort of major attack that they may be likely planning. But thank you for watching. Remember, look, the threat is real, but there are people out there willing to save you. So stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay combat ready. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon.